fashion, music, wellness.
And don't forget sex.
Mostly sex.
If it's trending, they'll be talking about it. Trend Radio is right here.
And right now, I'm Anthony Vincent.
And I'm Elise.
And we always have something great to say.
Because it's us. So stay tuned.
You'll be glad you did. Good morning, Elise.
Good morning, Anthony.
How you doing, Big Al on the big board?
I am here as always.
Yes, you are. What would we do without you?
I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, we have a really interesting shoe today.
A shoe?
A shoe, yes.
A shoe.
We're
It's
gonna.
a shoe-in.
Well, yes, it is. And what size shoe do you have?
Me? Like, depends on the shoe, but 9.5. Sometimes even a 10 if it's a really, tight shoe.
Boy, you got some big ass feet, girl.
Yeah?
Damn. Well,
They look good with me.
I'm 12 and a half.
Yeah.
You want to see?
I believe you. I've
it is.
gotten you shoes before.
12 and a half.
All right, get it off the table.
Alrighty.
He put his... Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't know what that's got to do about what we're talking about.
I'm sure you don't.
So
What are we talking about?
Well, I'm going to tell you.
Of course you are.
We're going to talk about how women really feel about penis size.
Well, okay. Well, how do you really feel about
Oh, it
penis
doesn't
size?
matter.
Doesn't matter to
how
you?
I feel because size. That's right. I could care less. I just realized what you were getting at. Shame on you.
Shame. Is there shame, Anthony?
Penis size doesn't matter to the substantial majority of women.
Yeah, it really actually doesn't matter. Do you know, unless you're a size queen,
Size what?
a size queen, there are some out there.
I know there are. Now, and size does matter to some women.
It does.
That's
Size
right.
queens.
But based on decades of studies and articles from sex therapists and many women
You know,
in our salon,
I have to tell you,
the majority of women just don't care.
they don't. They absolutely don't. And I have to tell you, there are a couple of my friends that have told me the only time they really, really do care, honestly, is if the guy's too big.
Oh.
That's when they care.
Yeah, I know. I understand.
Do you understand?
Well, it's true. They'd rather be with men who are warm, kind, caring, and funny.
Absolutely. Well, you want to feel good.
That's right.
When you're with your significant other, no matter who it is, you want to feel good.
And it doesn't matter how big it is to make you feel good.
No, it doesn't.
You know, the women want to their values and interests shared than with someone who has a telephone pole in his pants,
Well, you don't want to be in pain either. But the most important thing when you're having a nice time with somebody, when you're having sex with somebody, when you're intimate with somebody, the most important thing is that there's a connection. So we've always talked about that. But getting back to, the size of your guy, you also want to feel comfortable. You don't want to be in pain. So I can't stress that enough. There are some women that just, you can't handle. It's bad enough you're having a baby. You don't want to be all stretched out and all uncomfortable.
We're going to talk about that later on.
Oh, you want to talk about having a baby?
No. Now, recently, researchers at UCLA and Cal State published a report showing that 84% of women feel very satisfied with their man's penis size.
And you know why that is? They're satisfied with their man.
Ah.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah, well, 14% wished it were larger, and
They don't like their guys.
and 2% would prefer smaller.
They really, really must have issues. If they're saying they want their guy smaller, but they just, I don't know.
They could be too big. You said it's
Yeah, and it's painful. That can be painful.
Oh, you know this?
Dum dum dum.
The 84% figure means that 7 out of every 8 women think their man is just fine.
I agree with that.
Right.
And that's because, again, back to the fact that they're comfortable with their guy. And so it just doesn't, they're just comfortable, and it is what it is.
That's right. Now, this study's methodology goes way beyond the run-of-the-mill survey that are usually done with, 100 college undergraduates.
Well, what do you mean?
Well, what they did, the researchers posted their questions on msnbc.com.
Really?
Yes, and got responses from almost 27,000 women.
Holy
ages
crap.
18
Really?
to
That is
60.
a huge number.
27,000.
Huge number.
Yes.
Huge.
Now,
Wow.
Now, this is interesting. That 27,000 is a huge number, and it strongly suggests that the findings are really, really valid.
Wow. That is a big group of gals.
Now, this is interesting. The survey also attracted responses from almost 26,000 men.
Are you kidding?
That's right.
Wow.
And 2/3 of them rated their penis as average, which exactly matching what the women said about their partners.
And you know what's interesting about that? That means right there that it's never come up. Or gone down. But that means that the situation has always been, reasonable. So that means they're really seriously not too small, or that would have been a conversation. And that also means that they're not too big because they're not hurting their gal. Do you know what I mean?
That's right.
So therefore, wow, interesting.
And what's interesting between men and women is the women were only half as likely to call their man's penis small and were more likely to call it large.
Nice. Interesting.
So the men thought they
were the right size.
No, they thought that half the men thought they were small, and half of that number, women thought that they were just fine.
And that happens often, though. Mm-hmm. Guys often think that the gal is happy, but the guy would think he's too small.
That's guys always do. And, I think if they had, they couldn't have 12 inches between their legs. You know why?
That's a foot.
Then it would be a foot. That's right.
Hey.
Okay. For instance, let's get to the survey.
Okay.
12% of men called their penis small.
Okay.
Only 6% of women called their man's penis small.
Okay, so that's half.
Men who called their penis large was 22%.
Okay.
And women who called their man's penis large was 27%.
Now, see that? Isn't that interesting? So the guys that thought they were small, only half the women thought that.
Yeah.
And the guys who thought that they were large, more than that percentage, they thought that. So guys are really off on what they think because women are correct.
That's right.
Thank you.
Now, I have some... I know you're always right.
Oh, I love this.
That keeps us from fighting.
Yes.
Thank
you.
Yeah.
Don't say another word.
Okay.
Keep it at that.
All righty.
That was good.
Can I talk about this?
Yes.
Some history?
Of course.
I found some interesting history.
You are interesting.
Okay. Now, our view of manhood with a big penis is completely opposite of how the ancients viewed their genital size.
Of course it is. There was a whole different mindset then.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, there was a writer, and his name was Aristophanes. I think I'm pronouncing it right.
Aristophanes?
Aristophanes?
Aristophanes, yeah.
Oh, Aristophanes. Okay, you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Aristophanes.
See, I'm always talking about Artis, but this is Aristophanes.
Aristophanes.
And he wrote a play called The Clouds in 423 BC.
How beautiful. I love The Clouds. You know that.
Yeah.
I don't know the play, but I'll look it up because I love The Clouds.
I would like to read this play because there's a character in the play that warns the delinquent young men that if they continue to behave badly, as punishment, their penises would grow larger.
Oh my gosh. But what if they stayed and they stayed good and they weren't wicked?
If they repudiated their wicked ways, their organs will remain the same as they should be, smaller.
So it was their preference. Come to think of it, I have to tell you, if you look back at art.
I'm getting to that. Hold on to that thought. Hold on to that thought. We're getting there.
He always does this. He always tries to shut me up.
Never. Impossible. Never happened. Who
Okay.
said that never happened? Kojak.
Never happened.
Alrighty.
All right, go on.
So, 5 centuries later.
The Roman novel.
Thank you.
Yeah. Satyricon.
Yes.
Yeah,
Now-
that's 50 AD.
Yes. Oh, you know about this.
I know some things.
Okay. They described bathers at a public bath who made fun of one character's large penis.
Really?
Yeah, they called it ridiculous.
Really?
Like the oversized shoes of a circus clown.
Oh my gosh.
That's what. Yes, and
What
like
an awful thing to say to somebody.
well, it was a play or a
Okay.
novel, and like the Greeks, the ancient Romans thought that the most attractive penises were on the smaller side.
Okay. All right. So can we talk about the artwork?
That's right. Now we can talk about the artwork.
Because if you think about it,
You're always premature.
I'm never premature. But you know what? As long as you're not premature, then you'll be fine.
I'm
So-
immature, not premature.
We know that. We've discussed that. On another note, though, that's another show.
Okay.
Okay. So artwork.
Okay.
You know, Michelangelo's artwork. You know, just beautiful artwork. All of those beautiful pictures.
Are we talking about David?
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And other.
Other artwork also. I'm talking
Okay.
about everything, the sculptures.
Okay.
Everything from that period
Okay.
of time. Everything was so beautiful.
Yeah.
If you recall, the women had fuller figures. Men weren't really, they were built well, but they weren't, you know, hugely buff. And their penises were not very large. When they were painted, when they were sculpted, they just weren't. You know, I mean, you do know what I'm talking about,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
I think that
I'm usually looking at the boobs in these in the
I
artwork.
think
I'm not looking at the penile.
when they were actually making, you know, doing this artwork, it was the scrotum that was actually larger
Oh, that's
than the actual
right.
penis.
Yes.
And, you know, that was to suggest great potency. That, you know, they would be full and they hung low. And what was really important was that the sperm count was large. So if you had a full scrotum, you looked very potent. You looked like you had a lot of sperm.
That's
and
right.
being able to make a baby and procreate, that was what was important.
That was what was most important, to
Yeah.
procreate.
Yeah.
The penis was just a little injection device. It was the scrotum that held the power.
Exactly.
Interesting.
So you understand.
Of course I do.
Fantastic.
But that all changed in the second half of the 19th century.
Okay.
That's when photography was invented, which was around 1840.
Oh, and that's when they made room and paved the way for porn.
Pornography.
Exactly.
Yes, yes.
It's in everything. It's everywhere.
Yeah, and and it really started very, very early. The porno.
So basically,
Like
porn transformed the penis from, you know, being an injection device, as you just called it, to the center of attention. See that?
That's right.
And in photography and film, the bigger the better.
That is true. That is true.
Like butter.
So, Elise, you got a ruler?
In my back pocket, Anthony.
Oh, you do? Okay. You got,
Yeah.
I just love a woman with a tool belt.
Taking a quick break. Trend Radio continues after this on 920 The Jersey.
We'd like to thank Artis, a place to live and grow for seniors with cognitive disorders, where empowerment, pride, and fulfillment define memory care. We are Anthony, Vincent, and Elise, together, Trend Radio, where we talk about love, lust, romance, and sex.
Mostly sex.
Well, to most people, penis size implies length, and there are some 24 studies that they've had to measure it, and we've actually talked about those studies several times on this show.
Yes, we have.
Yeah.
Yes, we have. There's all kinds of things.
Now, most measure on the top side of the pubic bone to the base of the penis, to the tip of the gland.
Yes, they do. You know, they do. That's how they do it.
Right.
That's how they measure it. And that's, you know, guys will do that in locker rooms. You know, girls will do that with their guy. Guys will do that with their guy. Whatever. It doesn't really matter. But that's not really how you measure the length now, is it?
Well, tell us how. You seem to be.
Why don't you tell us? Well, all right. I do know. I do happen to know. I'm not sure if anybody actually realizes this. But there happens to be a couple of inches kind of inside you, you know.
You're absolutely right.
I know.
People don't know that.
People
there's
don't
another
know
inch
that.
or two below that skin.
Mm-hmm.
And there's what's called the suspensory ligament that kind of holds it in place.
Mm-hmm.
And if that were to be cut or snipped, the penis would kind of pop out a few more inches, but it would kind of flop all over the place. Because that's...
I think you need that. Don't cut anything, anybody.
No. That's...
Don't cut anything. I think that's an important thing to have.
I actually saw it was a movie or a documentary years ago, and this doctor called that surgery mutilation. In fact, I think it was on
Mutilation?
because
Yeah.
you're actually mutilating yourself.
Yeah, don't do that.
It was the HBO series Real Sex, and I thought.
And you know, I have to tell you something. It's not that important. That's what I really want to put out there. It's not that important. I think personally, it's the least important part of anything.
And most women feel the same way,
They really do.
but most men feel the opposite.
But most men don't realize how their women feel. That's why communication is always so important.
That's right. That's right. And, you know, the typical flaccid penis, which we talked about several times on the show, is about 3.5 inches. And what's interesting is that a smaller penis grows larger when erect than a large.
Well, how much more can it possibly go if it's already large?
Percentage-wise.
You know,
right?
exactly.
That's
It's
right.
already large. So, I mean, it just kind of, at that point, you know, I hate to say it like this, but it just kind of gets hard, you know, and how much more could it grow?
I don't know.
Some
I
guys
only
wouldn't be
know
able to
one.
walk.
Well,
You know what? I just got that. That is so funny. That was good. That was really good.
there's only 2.5% of erections that measure like 3.5 inches.
Okay.
Now, 13% are like 3.5 to 4.5. And this is interesting. 68% of peni are 4.5 inches to 6 inches.
Because that's basically the average size.
That's right. Howard Stern has 6 inches
And you know this because,
he talked about it all the time.
okay.
They went through a thing where they were all measuring their
Oh
peni
my,
on his show.
interesting. Okay, but that is average. That's based on all of the
That's right.
the information that we read.
And only 2% are longer than 7 inches.
Wow.
So if you're a size queen, you got to go through 98 guys before you find one or two you like.
There's always other things you can do.
Like what?
Just find the nice guy, find the right guy, and then you guys will take care of it. I don't need to tell you.
Well, you know, ironically, among the women who said they care about size, fewer care about the length.
Yeah, it's the girth that they're talking about.
That's right.
I think.
The thickness was
Yeah.
what was important, you know, to them. And not so surprising, the taller the man, the longer his arms and legs and penis.
Well, yeah, that is not so surprising because, you know, typically, people are pretty, you know, balanced for the most part. So their hands and their feet, you know, are going to be in that range, and their arms and their legs are going to be in that range. So I guess anything that would be sticking out of the body would be, you know, in that general kind of length.
That's right. And there's an old saying, the bigger the feet, the bigger the meat. Something like
There is an old saying. That has not been proven,
that? Okay.
but, you know, length is one thing. Height is one thing. Weight is a completely different ballgame.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Well, you know,
I just lost 20 pounds, by the way.
yes, you did, and you look fabulous. Congratulations to you. You must be extremely happy with yourself. Anyway, slimmer men are a little happier with their penis size than men who are heavier.
Why is that?
Well, because as your weight increases, your lower abdomen fat pad grows and envelops the base of the penis. And that would make it look considerably smaller.
So, in other words, if you lose a couple of pounds, it makes it look bigger?
Yes.
It's true.
Thank you.
It is true.
Thank you. Again, thank you so much for your information. Anybody needs to know that, email us now at trendradio920@gmail.com. I'll let you see Anthony. Anyway, you want to make the most of what the good Lord gave you?
That's right.
Okay, forget the pills. Forget the potions. They do not work. Okay? Fraud, fake. It's all fake. Fake information, like fake news.
Fake penis growth.
Fake. To be all you can be between your legs. Lose weight. But do it for yourself. Because the truth of the matter is that there's an 84% chance that the woman in your life is perfectly happy with you the way you are. And your penis size is included in that.
That's true.
I know.
So
That's true.
So once again, ask any credible sexologist or us here at Trend Radio.
Yeah, go for us. You can't get this information anywhere else.
No, right here, just Trend Radio.
It's us.
Yes.
It's all about us.
So you will always hear these 4 words. Penis size doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
But
although, on the back of your Jeep, it does say size matters. But I think they're talking about your wheels.
they're talking about my wheels that I'm able to climb my monster Jeep.
Yes.
I have
to climb too.
36-inch Mickey Thompsons on that
I know
baby.
what you have on that because I have to climb them. Yeah.
I have a stool in the back if you ever...
I don't need it.
If you can't ever get your legs up that high.
I have no problem with that. Who hops in that Jeep so fast? I do. Yeah, even in a dress, ladies, okay? Up that. I'm like, boom, right up there.
Size does make a difference to guys. And,
Yes.
You had just mentioned, are there any safe, effective ways to increase size?
And there aren't.
There are.
Well, there are, but they're not these. No pills, potions, or surgery. Don't do it. It's fake.
That's right. And I think you hit on some of the reasons how to look bigger. But here's why the sexologists say that size doesn't matter. Any penis can provide great pleasure for the man it's attached to.
That is true.
And an estimated 95% of penises are average size 3 to 5 inches.
Right.
Now, very few are significantly larger or significantly smaller.
Correct.
When women have been surveyed about what they want in a lover, they consistently say attractiveness, kindness, caring, listening, sense of humor, and a shared interest and values.
That's what I was going to say.
You were?
And
I'm
somebody, no, are you sorry?
Not really.
You should be. I was going to say somebody that you have a connection with, somebody that you share the same interests and values with. That was my word. That's what my sentence. I had
I'm
to
sorry.
say it.
All right, let's retape this. Okay.
No. Just move on.
Okay.
Okay.
When women have been surveyed about what they want in a lover,
No.
they consistently.
I can't believe you. Stop
I
repeating
don't want to
yourself.
step all over you.
You do all the time. Yes, you do.
Oh,
you love
right.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, you love to step on me. So let's just move on.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Very, very few women mention penis sizes.
Yeah, that is the truth.
Yeah.
That is, I don't know anybody that really complains about it except if they're too big. That I've heard before. And it's uncomfortable. But I've never heard of anybody saying anything about their guy being too small.
Yeah, the therapists never say that.
Because it really doesn't matter. I have to tell you something. And we've said this before. What really does matter, aside from, what we talked about, when you're being intimate with somebody, what matters is everything else. It's the foreplay. It's what your guy or gal can do for you.
And it starts
Sexually.
the minute you wake up or the second you go to sleep.
Well, it doesn't start necessarily the minute you wake up. It starts between the ears.
All right,
is what it
after
starts.
your third cup of coffee.
It starts between the ears. That's where it starts because your brain is what? Your favorite organ, but what?
Oh.
It's your biggest sex organ is your brain.
It is?
Yes, and you have nothing else to say
That's
about
right.
that.
It's my
because-
second favorite organ.
Yes, the heart is his first.
So, guys really feel very differently about it.
Well, because they compare themselves. They compare themselves to the guys in the locker room. They compare themselves to what they've seen, when watching porn. They compare. Comparison is never good. It doesn't matter. It doesn't.
Do you know that there are casual personal ads looking for men with big ones? And most men are convinced that size is the key to a woman's pleasure.
But it's not.
No.
Because it doesn't actually even hit. Very rarely does it ever hit the important spots that you need it to hit. That's the truth. You know that. That's the truth. We've had this conversation. Mm-hmm. It's really, it's so silly.
Well, I see on TV late night, these enlargement products, they're expensive and they're lies, every one of them. And the people who sell them, they're hucksters. There is no pill, potion, device, or exercise that can permanently enlarge a penis.
See, what's so interesting though? I find it amazing that because somebody wants something so badly, that they would actually believe that.
Oh, they do.
I find that incredible because how is it possible that could even be true?
Oh, yeah, I can't figure it out.
If you actually read up on it and you actually, look at the information and put it like, it becomes instead of 1 + 1 = 2, it's 1 + 1 = 1. And that could never be.
That's right. That's right.
It's crazy. Do you know what I actually heard? I heard one of my clients was telling me that a friend of hers, this friend's boyfriend had some sort of surgery to make his penis appear thicker.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And what they did was they kind of injected under the skin into the tissues. It was some kind of really, I don't know.
It's body fat.
Yeah, something like that.
It's like what women do with their lips.
But here was the problem. The problem is that after everything settled and everything, was healed, his penis looked deformed and bumpy.
Jeez.
That made her uncomfortable.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? It wasn't smooth anymore.
And those surgeries are very, very expensive.
He wanted it thicker. He thought she wanted it thicker. It was a surprise for her.
Oh,
she was not happy about this.
No, I bet not.
No. Not to mention, guess this. It took quite a bit of time to heal. Mm-hmm. So they weren't having sex for a while. And then when they did, she was not happy because aside from it feeling different to her, because she loved him and she was used to him and she liked the way everything felt with him.
If he was lumpy and bumpy, it was kind of like one of those ribbed condoms.
It was not happy.
For
it was
pleasure too.
It was, yeah. That was good. Maybe you should do the commercial. Maybe you should do the voiceover.
I do a lot of commercials.
But maybe you should do that one.
All right.
The voiceover. She was uncomfortable because there was no balance. It wasn't balanced.
What did he pay for that?
I think she said something like $13,000 to $15,000.
Holy mackerel.
You
Wow.
know? Yeah. That was something that she was not happy about.
Well, if you want your penis to be bigger or look bigger,
Or feel bigger and healthier.
quit smoking.
Yeah.
Flaccid or erect, size depends upon the amount of blood in the organ. Mm-hmm. And less blood means a smaller penis.
And you know what? Smoking narrows your arteries.
That's right.
Yeah, it narrows your arteries so that your arteries carry blood to your penis. So it limits your blood flow. Yeah, and then it makes it appear smaller.
Well, another thing you can do is exercise regularly.
Because that improves arterial health.
That's right.
You
That's
know?
right. And just like you said, it allows more blood into the penis.
Mm-hmm. But you know what? Exercising the penis, pointless.
I was just going to talk about it, to try to do push-ups with your penis or something like that. No.
Yeah, that's pointless.
No
You don't
good.
need to do that.
But it's funny.
It's hilarious. Yeah. Yep.
The sex media refers to the penis as the love muscle.
The love muscle.
That's right. Baby, put a lip lock on my love muscle.
I was not expecting that.
So, and that implies that the penis is like a bicep, and certain exercises can buff it up. But it's a different kind of muscle tissue.
Yes.
That penis contains smooth muscle. Not the
Exactly.
kind, yes.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's what I'm talking about. It's supposed to be smooth, not bumpy and lumpy from having fat injected into it.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Exactly.
So eat less meat and more fruits and vegetables.
Yes. Well, here's the thing. Protein is very good for you. So, but meat and cheese, red meat and cheese, not always the best.
That's right. It raises your cholesterol.
Yeah. Stay with yourself, with fish and chicken. But we say this all the time. Poultry. Yeah. I mean, just take 2 days a week. 2 days. Just 2 days a week and cut your meat and cheese intake.
That's right. And you got to eat 5 to 8 servings of fruit and vegetables.
Yes, because antioxidants help keep the arteries open, and
That's
vegetables and fruit are loaded.
And if you're a little confused or don't know what you should be eating or how you should be eating, you should be watching a new show that you can see on Comcast or what's the other one? Verizon TV or
Vimeo
YouTube.
or YouTube. But you know what?
It's called The Aphrodisiac Chefs.
Yes, and that's us.
Yes, we are the Aphrodisiac Chefs. You can enhance your romance
With us.
The Aphrodisiac Chefs, because we cook with love.
We do. And you know what? You can reach out to us at aphrodisiacchefs@gmail.com. And we will tell you everything you need to know
About eating food that opens up your arteries.
You are
It's
so funny.
food for love.
And food that helps you feel sexy too.
That's right. Life is delicious. Eat that way too.
And it's so nice. We have Artis here with us again. Good morning, girls.
Good morning.
How are you today?
Good.
When picking a community, what should some of the things be that you'd be looking for?
Well, there's a lot of different components to that, and we're going to go over a little bit some of the things that you should keep your eyes open and your emotions open to while you're making a choice.
Sounds good. I agree with that.
I mean, certainly there are a lot of things that people want to look for. When you walk into a community, your senses tell you quite a bit about it. What
Yes,
are you
they do.
seeing?
You get the vibe in the buildings.
Exactly. The vibe.
It's a gut feeling. You know when it's the right place.
Well, for me, what would be very important is warmth, because I'd want my grandma or mother or whoever is going to be there to feel comfortable. And I know you girls are just so warm.
Oh.
And everybody that we've met so far has been so warm. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, I think that's very important. You want to get the sense that the place that you're selecting is really more about warmth and individualized care than it is about just going through the motions of caretaking and.
Well, it's compassion. You want to see that the staff is compassionate and friendly, and it doesn't have to be for your mom or dad. You can see how they're reacting to you as well, because that's just as important.
Agreed.
So
And you want to see that they're engaged, and you can tell that when I would encourage any family that's considering a community to tour, and you can tell by the engagement, you can tell by the smiles on the residents' faces. So that's, I think, number one. I think family support is a big thing. Are there team members designated to support families and what they're dealing with as far as understanding the progression of dementia and what may be down the road? Support groups, resources. I know we're lucky enough to have Dr. Platzman as our medical director. He's a physician who's a gerontologist. And even with our support groups, he's very willing to sit in on everyone to let if families have clinical questions. So things like that. We have a social worker, which is unusual for an assisted living. So those are key roles that you want to look for.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I can share a tiny little story from years ago.
We love stories.
Yeah, that I had the opportunity as a family member helping my cousin find a place for my aunt, and I remember touring, and you're touring with a very different set of eyes than you have when you're working in the field. And the person showing us around said, I think we can handle her. And I thought, boy, this has to be about a lot more than handling someone.
Yeah.
So that's kind of become a buzzword for me. I would encourage families to kind of listen to what people are talking about, because it's really so much more than handling someone's inability to care for themselves.
Wow. Well, that's certainly very special. And I know that so many people are going to come in and like what they see and like what they feel.
Yes, absolutely.
I think we've mentioned this before, but, we really have an extensive profile on the new resident that's coming in, because we really want to know everything about their past and their present. So by doing that, it gives us a really good view of who they were their whole life.
I love that.
Who's actually helping you put that profile together? Is it the family members? Is there a questionnaire?
Yes.
Do you just have a
It's
meeting?
several pages. It's a written profile. So what holidays were special to them? What was their general routine? Were they a night owl?
What did they do for a living,
Hobbies.
What did they enjoy eating for breakfast, and what did they not enjoy? We want to know those things.
If they
Right.
gardened their whole life, then we're getting them outside every day as part of their
Routine.
Yes.
Wow.
Will you have a garden or flower beds out there that the residents can actually
Yes.
play in?
All residents have secured access to courtyard areas. So if there's somebody that just likes to walk or pace or stroll or be outside.
Or plant.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they even had, when I went to the other building, for someone who didn't want to be outside, they had some gardening inside as well. So there will be options for both, so that you're not excluded if, outside is not your thing.
So they
Very
can
nice.
plant inside. Mm-hmm. That's fantastic.
And going back to what we, I think, have mentioned previously, why not? That's kind of the
Why not? I love
philosophy
that. I love
of
that.
the company.
As
Why
you
not?
age, unfortunately, sometimes you react to the sun.
Yes.
And you become allergic to it almost. That
Or
happened
medications
actually.
can make you sensitive to
Yeah.
Sure.
Sure.
That happened to my mother, and she couldn't really be outside too much.
okay.
She had to always be in the shade, and that wasn't always possible.
Right,
So
right.
I can imagine that happening. So that's lovely. They can plant. Mm-hmm. I love that. Plant tomatoes. Make a salad for you, Anthony.
That would be great to be growing things we could incorporate into our meals.
I was just thinking about that too.
That's
why
wonderful.
not, right?
Why not?
Why not?
Well, on the basis of why not, I can't wait for you guys to come back next month. Because why not?
Why not?
Why not?
To it.
And for people wanting to tour the residence,
Why
you'll-
not?
You'll be opening up sometime late fall.
Well, they can
October,
tour
November.
now. They can come. Well, they can't tour the building, but they can come in and sit and speak with us on a one-to-one basis.
Absolutely.
And find out about the community and reserving their spot for when we do open.
And
that's
they could actually, I'm sorry, I just cut you off.
I'm
They,
used to it.
they could actually go to Evesham, couldn't they? And see what's going on there if they choose.
We have already arranged for some of our family members to go to one of our sister communities.
That's
to
awesome.
See what
That's
we're like
wonderful.
when we're up and running. Yeah, we'd be very happy to hear from anyone if they'd like to give us a call. The number at our office is 609-454-3360.
Perfect.
And they can come and visit you at the executive offices out on Alexander Road, which is right down the street from the residence.
Absolutely.
Yes.
We're at 731, and if anybody is interested in scheduling an appointment, we would love to hear from them.
That's awesome.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you,
Thank
bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
We'd like to thank Artis, 60 years experience in the field of senior living care, focusing on helping each resident find meaning and joy every day with dignity.
If you're joining us just now, we are Anthony, Vincent, and Elise, together, Trend Radio, where we talk about love, lust, romance, and sex.
Mostly sex. Mm-hmm. Okay, back to your penis.
No, my penis is just fine. Thank
I
you very
wasn't
much.
talking about yours.
We're talking about losing the pot belly.
Yes.
Exercise, less meat and cheese, more plant foods help men lose weight, which also helps size. A big belly encroaches on the base of the penis, making it look a little smaller. Lose that fat, make your tummy smaller, make your penis look bigger.
And cut the beer, guys. Cut the beer.
Oh, no. No.
You don't even like beer, so why are you saying, oh no?
Come on, I want to be one of the guys. The guys drink beer.
Okay, drink a beer, Anthony. Drink 6.
No. Coors Light.
Oh, okay.
Less than 90 calories per bottle. But I think it's
Okay.
because the bottles are smaller.
Maybe.
And I know here's something that you do. Embrace your meditative relaxations.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Do you know that when you meditate, you relax literally every morsel in your body? The arteries that carry the blood to the penis are surrounded by muscle tissue. And when you feel anxious, including worrying about your penis size, these muscles contract, constricting the arteries and reducing your blood flow and size.
Really?
Yeah. But as you relax, women of course too, but as men relax deeply, these muscles also relax, and that opens your arteries, maximizing your blood flow and boosting your size. Okay? Any kind of drug that you would take, any kind of erection drug, also works by relaxing these muscles. So you may as well meditate. It's healthier.
Now, they're not penis size pills, they're relaxation pills or
Yeah,
something.
anything. If you have anxiety, you're going to take something.
Mm-hmm.
So instead, I understand time can be a factor. So when you wake up, meditate. Before you go to sleep, meditate.
And stay warm. Now, you've probably noticed that on cold days in chilly locker rooms, jumping into the pool, your penis seems to shrink. But
Yeah, everything shrinks though when you're cold.
really?
Yeah. Everything does.
All righty. So take a hot shower. The warmth is relaxing, increases the blood flow.
Hey, I have a good one. Take a warm, hot shower before you're intimate with your lady. That would be great.
But what if you have a small shower? You can't kind of fit.
So you know what? If your shower is too small to shower together, you pop in first by yourself, come out and say, hey, baby.
If you want to know about showering together in a small shower, you got to go to the Cabin Boy on demand. Watch the Cabin Boy.
You know what?
They take a shower together in their boat.
Oh, boy.
It is hysterical.
Okay.
And they get stuck in there. And they drop the washcloth and it gets stuck in the drain and the water's rising, almost drowning them. Very, very
All for
funny.
a nice night of sex.
That's right. Cabin Boy.
Okay. That's cute.
Oh, okay. Where were we? Okay.
Now that you know how to be all you can be, guys.
Yeah.
Okay. I think Anthony's here to explain something to you.
Yeah. Men are hung up on their penis size, but most of them are clueless about good size.
Good sex.
Good sex, rather.
Size, sex, same thing these days, right? No.
Any size penis can bring pleasure,
To its owner.
and the person borrowing it. But the best way to impress women is to give them pleasure without using your penis.
Okay.
That's
now,
right.
I have to tell you something. There are very few women that actually consistently orgasm during vaginal intercourse. Very few. A very small percentage. And that's no matter what the man's size is. Okay? That's why it's so important to take care of her in a different way.
Oh.
Just make peace with your penis, okay? Yeah. Enjoy what you've got. You'll be a happier lover and probably a better lover.
Very good words.
I think
Good
so too.
words. Good words.
I think so too.
You know, all this talk about penis. We never talk about the vagina.
Oh.
But no, we always talk about the vagina.
I think we always talk about the vagina.
That's right. And you know,
Why'd you just scratch me?
Because I need a damn manicure, and I can't get an appointment with one of the best manicures in New Jersey.
Okay, so let me just explain something to you. This is not true. I do his nails all the time. He has his fabulous black gel shiny nail, which is holding up really nicely. I'm really happy with that new product. Okay,
Right, and the rest of my fingers are
not-
talons.
All I'm saying is I cut
I
his
could
nails.
grab a branch and hang there for hours.
Yeah, he just literally ran by my hand and scratched it. I have to tell you, though, I just cut his nails last week, and I'm happy to say he is one healthy man because his nails are long again. I wish my nails grew as quickly as his did. But on that note, do you know
Once a week is not enough.
Let me just tell you something. I know that. But let me just tell you something. I asked him to color my hair. It took him 3 weeks to do it. And I want to tell you something.
I'm busy too.
I had gray. I had gray roots. Gray.
Your hair sparkled.
I'm not even going to answer that, mister with the long nails. Go on.
Can we get back to vaginas
Yes.
now?
Yes.
You know, a lot of women complain that their vaginas are too tight or they're too loose. And notions of...
I don't know anybody who complains about that. None of my girlfriends ever say anything like that.
Well, they're probably embarrassed. They don't talk about it. But
We talk about everything. We're girls.
All right. Well, the tightness and the looseness, they're kind of mythology. You know, many people believe that the virgin vagina is extremely tight, and the loss of virginity permanently loosens it.
No, that's not true.
You know, and that frequent sex loosens it even more.
No,
No, well, you're right.
that's not true.
But childbirth loosens the vagina even more, maybe even forever.
So let me just tell you something. Of course, anything is possible. Anything can happen. Because if you stretch something out so much, so many times, eventually it's not good. The elasticity will give and it won't go back. Like, let's talk about a rubber band for a minute. You stretch a rubber band, you stretch it. It's going to go back. It's going to take its shape. But eventually, you keep stretching it, it's going to wear out. It's starting to get thinner, thinner, thinner. And then, oops, eventually it snaps.
That's right. But our body is not a rubber band.
That is correct.
But
But eventually, it does stretch out where you just do need some. If you have, women who have 5 children, it's eventually it's going to stretch out. It's not going to elasticity. It doesn't go back. And so eventually you'll need to have some sort of lift, if you will.
But most people do not have 5 children.
That is true.
And
so there's no problem.
You know, the muscles in the vagina are really kind of folded tissue, and they're very elastic, just like an accordion. So, and try this. Pull the corners of your mouth outward towards your ear and then let it go. What happens?
Oh, it goes right.
It snaps back.
Look, it goes. Yeah.
Right to its pre-stretched state because the tissue is elastic. And you can do it 100 times.
I just did it 5.
And there's no permanent stretching.
Look.
The mouth quickly returns to
my lips are the same way.
Your lips are keep flapping. They never stop flapping. So I can do like a... and look, I just pulled my beard out. I pulled the beard out.
You can just keep doing it. It's good.
That's right. Well, think of your vagina like a towel stuffed inside a sock and then squeezed by 2 hands. The socks is the vagina, the towel is the folded muscle tissue around the wall, and the hands are the pelvic floor muscles that surround the vagina.
It's like a closed accordion.
That's right. That's what I said.
Yeah, you're right. You're definitely right.
So
You're always right, Anthony.
anxiety,
Look at
and
his
this is what
face.
you give me anxiety, and that makes the vaginal musculature clench even tighter, although it makes my teeth clench when you do this.
When I give you anxiety, your teeth clench?
Oh, yeah. But it doesn't last very long.
Thank you.
So what happens here, Elise?
Okay. When a woman becomes sexually aroused, the vaginal muscle tissue relaxes. Okay? And biologically, this makes perfect sense, right?
Okay.
So evolution is all about facilitating reproduction.
Okay.
A tight vagina would impede intercourse and reproduction.
Okay.
Okay?
So guys, you really don't want a tight
you,
vagina.
You definitely do not want to give your gal anxiety, okay? Because she will not be relaxed, and let's face it, you're not getting in. It's just not happening. So if you're calm and you're happy and you're relaxed, it's going to be easier, and it's going to give you a greater chance of having a lovely evening. And if you're looking for pregnancy, you'll have a much higher result. Yeah.
So what about if the vagina is like too tight?
If it feels too tight during lovemaking, your gal's either not interested or she hasn't had enough warm-up time. Now listen, when we talk about warm-up time, we talk about this all the time.
Okay.
Foreplay, okay? You need to make sure there's foreplay. There's something going on before you just have sex. I understand sometimes there's only a few moments, okay? Do something first. Kiss her, grab her, tell her something, say something sexy, anything. Warm her up. Allow her vaginal musculature to relax enough for comfortable insertion.
So in other words, think of your lady as an oven, and she needs to be
You need to
preheat
turn it on.
before you put the meat in. Old
It's
joke.
like, bump. Yeah. So like I said, kiss. They're saying, there are studies out there that say women need at least 30 minutes of sensuality, hugging, kissing, talking, playfulness. Now, I happen to not agree with that. I think that, anything can happen in a moment. It's a matter of what you do at that moment.
And what's going on between your ears.
Exactly. And that's what we talk about constantly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, although, it would give women and men, the warm-up time that they need, and it allows for relaxation. So everybody has enough lubrication for fun, for softness, for love, for comfortable intercourse. But again, I happen to think that moments, depending on the people and what you're talking about, I happen to think that it can happen in moments. But
All right. So one final note about this. If a woman experiences pain or great difficulty in accepting an erection or intercourse, the cause may be vaginismus.
vaginismus.
That's right. That's the unusual clenching of the vaginal muscles.
Now, for that, you need to talk to your doctor.
That's right.
That I would call the OBGYN and say, there's an issue here. Taking a quick break. Trend Radio continues after this on 920 The Jersey.
We'd like to thank Artists, where senior residents are encouraged to do what helps them feel fulfilled and content, offering spacious living areas designed for social and emotional connections, with safety always at the forefront. Okay, so now let's get to vaginal looseness. After relaxing during sex, the vaginal muscle tissue naturally contracts and tightens again.
Yeah, it's definitely back and forth.
And we said earlier that intercourse does not permanently stretch out the vagina.
That is true.
The process loosening during arousal and tightening afterwards. This happens no matter how often the woman has sex.
Yes.
Now, for the exceptions, and we were talking about this.
I'm telling you, I know that I was right.
You are right. You're always right. I know that. If you stretch elastic too much over time, it fatigues and no longer snaps back entirely. And,
Yes, I
at
think
least
I
that can
said
happen to
that.
vaginas. Just like you said, of young women after multiple births.
Yes.
Their vaginal muscles and tissue just no longer fully contract. And in addition, fatigued vaginal muscles, whether or not women give birth, as you grow older, women may complain of the looseness also.
Do you remember, though, also that we were at that event?
Oh,
and we
yes.
met that young girl. And I know that I'm not even going to say what it was that she was doing.
She was involved in porno.
Yeah, she was involved in pornography. And something that she was doing was literally, it stretched her out so much that she was only 25 years old and she needed surgery.
That's right.
Do you remember
to
that?
Tighten it up.
Yeah, to tighten herself up.
Now, this is Elisa's expertise. You know, the tightening approach that is most often recommended by sex therapists is Kegel exercises.
Kegel, yes.
And
I strongly agree with that. And here's why. Kegels, although they tighten the vagina, they have nothing to do with the vaginal muscles. They strengthen the pelvic floor muscles that surround the vagina, the hands that hold the stuffed sock, if you will. Mm-hmm. So like when you go into the bathroom, ladies, you know, let's face it, you're urinating. So interrupt the urine flow or squeeze out the last few drops. I know that sounds crazy, but it really, really helps. Okay?
And I know this is true because Elise brags that she can crush a soda can with her Kegel muscles.
Okay, I never said that. Let's just get something straight. I don't talk to him about that. Okay? Okay? But here's the great thing. Kegels are totally private. Nobody knows you're doing. They can be done anytime, any place, anywhere, no matter what. Start slowly, and over several weeks, work up to like a half a dozen set, 10 contractions several times a day. In a few months,
you'll be able to crush a soda can also.
You'll feel tighter. And your orgasms, much more intense. Okay? Because the pelvic floor muscles contract during an orgasm. So as your muscles become stronger, so do your orgasms.
Oh, that
is worth it all. Boom. Absolutely.
You've been listening to Trend Radio, where we talk about what's hot every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. You want more? Go right to our website, 920thejersey.com, click on demand, and scroll directly to us.
And get the lowdown on getting down. Tune into your bad boy inside you.
Or your bad girl.
Listen each week. We always have something sexy to say. Got questions? Email us now at trendradio920@gmail.com. You'll be glad you did.
And remember, your smile is your logo, your personality is your business card.
But how you make people feel, well, that becomes your trademark.
I'm Anthony Vincent.
And I'm Elise.
And we'll talk to you next week.
Bye for now.